Greetings, viewers and listeners. I am Ibo Cooper, the Legacy Director of the Jamaica Reggae Industry Association, JARIA. I'm also a former chairman. I took over as the second chairman from Freddie McGregor, and now I've handed over to our present chairman, Mr. Ewan Simpson. I want to say greetings and welcome you to what is now the third leg of the relay. The relay is the exchange of conversation from one generation to another, and it's not a one-sided exchange. We're talking from the old guys to the young guys and the young guys to the old guys, seeing all the challenges and promises that still face us. This evening, the third leg of the relay is the producer's leg, and I have a really formidable panel this evening. I'm going to ask these gentlemen to introduce themselves. First of all, on my left,
Jack Scorpio here, man, from the Black Scorpio Records and sound system, and now I rated this Jackie, so when it comes to the music, that's it.
and now the youngest member of the panel this evening.
Yes, my name is JLL. I'm a music producer. I've done tracks with Chronix, Governor, Protege, Drake, upcoming artists like Jazz Elise, Savannah, Lila Ike. A lot of very broad ranges of music genres, but mainly rooted in Jamaican music.
And of course, someone who I have something to do with, I don't know how it goes. Third member of my
Rumor has it.
Rumor has it.
Rumor has it. Arif Cooper, record producer. I've done hits such as DeMarco, True Friends, World's a Cycle by Richie Spice, Rise in Love by Elaine, Hold My Hand featuring Sean Paul, tracks by Vibes Cartel, TikTok, Credit Alone Done, tons of records, too many to remember at this particular one.
Wait a second, we only have 12 minutes, so you can't.
I cannot go, no, trust me.
But you leave out my favorite one.
Which one is that?
Guardian Angel.
That's no one, no. Rise in Love and World's a Cycle was on Guardian.
Guardian Angel,
5
really.
records off of it.
Gentlemen, before we go into a deeper discussion, I really want to use the opportunity to expose what you have coming up. I know you would like the public to know. So Jack, what do you have coming up?
We have a young artist who I work with, named Kevin Clark. He's a wonderful singer, and it's a little young artist who, the first time I put him on a record from 1985, I do a song with Half Pint, and this is a young man. One day I have a little audition and he come and I hear the voice. I said, no. And he's 11 years now, I don't go back. I stopped producing for about 11 and give me son. When I hear this voice and I said, boy, no. This is a savior for reggae music.
I've worked this, I hear you, I hear you.
It's going on beautiful. As a matter of fact, I'm working Rebel Salutes.
Nice.
Last night, which was a great performance, and you know, he's doing his thing, wonderful singer.
So the future of the music is strong.
He's the future of the music, he's the future of this great music we call reggae music.
Yes, sir. Jail, what you have coming up?
All right, I'm working with another upcoming artist, like yourself, Jack, named Courtney. So she is a reggae artist, dancehall artist, but also open to different genres. We're working on an EP and looking to release a single coming soon with a music video.
Nice. Arif, what you have coming up?
Okay, well, shameless plug, Charlie Black album is coming out. No excuses. I have a track on there.
Nice.
Please support it.
Nice.
Right. Again, tons of projects. Currently out now, rhythm called Brand New Old School. I know the Spotify numbers is gone. It's gone over like 600 combined streams on Spotify right now. So, you know, since September, you know, it's out there, so you can go and check it out. It's also on, you know, iTunes. Working with Vanzo, who was a former Magnum Kings and Queens contestant. You know, we're trying to build his, you know, because he has a lot to contribute in my, you know, estimation. Too many things to mention, trust me. Reggae project coming out, which will feature Dwayne Stevenson, Charlie Black, Christopher Martin, amongst others. You know what I mean? Right.
Yes. Well, people, the future of the music looking bright. 2023 is supposed to really turn up, as I would have said. Now, I have been teaching the music business at the Edmund College of the Visual and Performing Arts, and as part of it, we have to define for the up-and-coming musicians and other practitioners some of the terms we use in the industry. And I want to know, from you gentlemen's perspective, Who is the executive producer and who is the producer? How you understand that?
Well, as to me think me an executive and me are the producer.
You're wearing both caps.
I wearing both caps, to be honest. But at least, you know, the music change, artists changes, you know, it's a computer world. It's not like, really and truly my best time in music is when 45 and help yourself. Really and truly, that's how me think, me make a good money out of the music. Now, it's not a case of we're not making money, or the artist them not making money, but when it comes to the producer, if you don't control that artist, I mean, you're left behind, because if you are depending, might be, say, you might get some publishing, but if you are dependent on sales of record for earn, like when I could have pressed 1,000 or 2,000, 45, and I sure say I could send some of England, send some of Caribbean, New York, and that is already cash. It's out.
Business model change now.
Model change.
I'm going to go on to the rest, but when you touch on that, there has been an increase in interest in vinyl. That don't help now?
It help, but it not help me, you know, Kibo. You know why? Vinyl now pressure Jamaica again.
Ah, so you mean so you have to press it overseas?
If you forget it and if you press to achieve, my greatest achievement is when I can go to Diamonds and I say I want 500.
Yeah.
And I go to Sonic Sound and I want a 1,000 and I get it and I go and the record shop them, I go and sell it, go to New York. That's how the real cash come in.
Yeah.
And that is how, you know, for real, I mean, it's a going off in England, I understand, say, and Japan too.
Yes. I'm going to come back to it though, because we want to look at how the production has changed with technology. But let me hear what Jailer say towards this business. Who is the producer and the executive producer?
All right, so I think over time the roles have changed, obviously from traditional to more modern contemporary views, in the sense that an executive producer can be involved with the making of the whole project, making sure the project is sometimes funded, making sure that it has a particular guideline to get to a certain goal, to be done, to be mixed, to be mastered, you know, just to get it across the finish line. While a producer is just a piece of the puzzle. So you can have an exec producer who produces an album that consists of many different producers of each track. So an album can have 5 producers, but one exec.
One exec.
Right, the one that connects all of them and make it make sense and make the transitions work. Or sometimes they're more involved musically, but other times they're more involved with the funding aspect, which is just making sure that recording costs get paid, mixing costs get paid, mastering costs get paid, artists get paid, that kind of thing. So,
got you. Arif, you concur or you have?
Yes, I mean, simply put, the executive producer, historically, excuse me, is the one who pays for the record to be to completion. The producer manages the expectations of the exec
producer.
Essentially, right? Like a coordinator of all the functions. So, you know, back in the day, you'd have the musicians and you had your composer, arranger, right? And the producer oversees that on behalf of the exec producer.
Yes.
You know, the lines are blurred now. That's what it started out as.
I'm glad you mentioned that the lines are blurred, because that's the whole reason for the question. Because, as Jack said, there are categories, but you can wear several hats.
Yeah.
So sometimes, as in the case of somebody like a Dean Fraser or yourself,
Right.
you are actually the music controller too.
Yes.
What you say, the music
composer,
director.
producer,
So you wear the
etc.
3 hats, you understand what I mean? And so sometimes for people just coming in the industry, they see maybe the music director as the producer, where it can be separate.
Can be separate.
You see?
yeah.
But looking now, going back to what Jack was touching on, before we come to the end of the segment, we're looking at how this production thing has changed through time, because Jack spoke to vinyl when it was a plastic thing being pressed, and then we went to CD and the digital world came in, and now we have wave files and MP3 and Spotify and so on. The changing of the business, Jail, how you appreciate it now?
Well, I exist in the midst of the latest change. So, I mean, you know, the efficiency of being able to just go on your phone and just play a song. You know, you don't have to, because I remember when iTunes was doing their thing where you had to basically pay to even listen to the music. So then, to me, it was rough back then having that paywall to kind of get to content. But I also grew up in the era of YouTube. where a lot of music was just placed on YouTube, and it's the internet, so there's no barricade to getting to that. But prior to that technological advancement, I do think that there is a special thing about going to a store and buying a record. Because, I mean, I bought CDs, and I do have a few vinyls of my own.
Can I take a old boy privilege and just applaud that?
It's real, man. It's real. Trust me, it's special. I remember those days, man. Like, all of them stores we used to go to and buy CDs.
Yeah.
They're not there anymore.
Arif, what do you say to that?
I mean, I'm old enough to remember. I'm young enough to be relevant, so I'm kind of in the cusp. But I mean, this is a sad reality of the situation. It comes down to how music is consumed. And as technology changes for the consumer, we have no choice but to adapt, because we don't have turntables in your house anymore. You barely have a CD player in your car.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we just have to adapt to that, To touch on what Jack was saying earlier, and I mean Father Scott was saying earlier, when it comes to the aspect of the producer, what happens a lot of the time is that the physical creation of the master was beneficial to the producer because you had to create that master. Now it's all digital, but there's still that right. So it comes down to, how producers cash in on that right. We know the rates differ and all those things, but yeah.
All right, gentlemen, we have come to the end of the first segment of what, for me, has been a really, really exciting discussion that has brought out a lot. Now, viewers and listeners, you are watching the third leg of the relay, the producer's leg of Jaria's Reggae Open University in Reggae Month 2023.
Jamaica, the land of Bob Marley, Marcus Messiah Garvey, Usain Bolt, and of course, Reggae Month, the only month-long reggae music festival on planet Earth, where something reggae happens every day in the month of February, ranging from mega reggae concerts, reggae award ceremonies, and educational symposia on reggae. February is Reggae Month. Reggae Month is February, when Jamaica invites the world to come to Mecca, Reggae Mecca, and come catch the rhythm like no place else on earth, only in Jamaica.
And that's how I made to give him the go, breathe, I'm delighted. Jano to my passion ignited. For the music get me excited. I'm coming like a boss.
Reggae is global. Reggae is everywhere.
Yeah, reggae is my life, If I wasn't for reggae, I don't know that walk out saying dead or something.
We have something which the world crave even right now. Reggae is internationally known.
Reggae Month is February. February is Reggae Month. Go catch the rhythm on Reggae Month TV, 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. daily in February. Catch the mega reggae concerts, interesting reggae documentaries and symposia, reggae conversations with pioneers of the music, and lots more. Reggae Month TV all days in February, 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. on PBCJ and the Ministry of Culture social media pages. Get all the details real time on the Reggae Jamaica mobile app, and come catch the rhythm this Reggae Month.
Yeah.
Yes, we welcome you again to the second segment of the third leg of the relay, the producer's leg. And you know, say athletics are our thing, right? And this now, you know, the 4x100, you know. I want to go forward to a time when I have a guy named what? Blake, you know, Johan, you know, when him catch that third button, you know, go around and hand to Bolt, you know. Yeah, so here we are with the Jamaica Reggae Industry Association, JARIA, Reggae Month 2023, Reggae Open University. We're talking to producers who have excellent track records throughout the years. And we're talking about when there was vinyl, we're talking about when there was CDs, we're talking about now that there are files, now there's Spotify, now there is iTunes and YouTube, of course. TikTok.
Industry right now.
Yep.
Man alive.
TikTok around the thing.
Yeah.
Well, gentlemen, your role as a producer in terms of a lot of controversy that sometimes happen about what is being produced. I don't know who want to jump on this one at first, because you know what people are saying out the street. Everything from lyrics and content and moral issues and all them things.
All right, it's an interesting thing because I am a supporter and an advocate for the culture, and the culture as it is defined as, you know, the collective behavior for people, you know, the pattern for people, how they think, how they move, how they act. And when people make songs that are, you know, within the culture, they make what they live and what they experience. But you also have to align that with their personal values. So even myself, I try to make sure I align myself with things that I can at least relate with, you know. But at the same time, I don't want to squander people's expression of their circumstances and their life. Just as long as I personally don't feel it's like a negative attack, you know, and I think just as long as it's not like a negative connotation to the lyrics and the words, to an extent to that it's tarnishing my personal values, you know.
You feel a sense of tension between the generations in that regard? You feel like the older guys are some youth who not produce too much violent stuff or too much sexuality?
But that's always been around. I just think the youth them nowadays are a little more, they're more bold, let's say, with it, and brash with it. So they will say they'll be more specific. I think back in the days it was more cleverly written. You know, it was a little more nuanced in the sense that, because you know, you have things like Sting and them things there that always encourage some sort of, you know, violence to a degree. But I do think people will just always tend to sing, you know, where they grew up on, like Movado, Cartel, and even the clash that happened in that era. So it's just like, yeah, there is tension, but I don't think any one group of people is to blame. I really do think that there has to be a collective discussion like we're having now to really come to an idea of what is it that we all want for everyone's collective consciousness.
Or if you feel the youth them get too much bashing from the older folks?
To some degree, but again, it comes down to the motivation of what's the bashing for, what's behind the bashing. I think sometimes you find that people use, you know, a soapbox argument to kind of bolster the fact that they're not really as you know, they don't have as much, you know, public control or you know influence as they would like to have, right? Which first, let me start by saying art is subjective. What's art to you might not be art to me, right? So any form of censorship is wrong, but there's also time and place, and also, you know, purpose. Because, for example, in the example of a sound clash, I don't think we want a kumbaya dub plate in a sound clash, right, Father John? You know what I'm saying to you?
You
We want an aggressive, you know what I'm saying to you? We want a thing to say, stamp your class, so it comes down to purpose. Also, when it comes to the youngsters, it's kind of hard to curb something about invested in from morning. So it's best if you at least have a say in what they do, to be like, okay, I don't think you should do that. But if it's kind of, so to come in on the back end and be like, oh, that is, it's ridiculous, right? You have to show some support, because a lot of these artists have songs and they themselves, you know, would, you know, try to be positive, but if it doesn't get this level of support, then what happens there?
Yeah, here comes the market. But Jack, would you restrict your artists? You have a youth as you say, you like this youth.
Yeah, definitely. Over the years, I restrict artists to what they're going to say on the mic when I produce them. I don't produce nothing. To put it this way, honestly to God, I don't produce nothing what can play on radio. So you know where me stand with that.
So you don't do the clean version.
No. I don't be the
raw
people.
version.
I don't work with that now.
I work with that.
If an artist come to me with that, I tell him, say, no, I don't do this. I have history in this, you know. No disrespect. One of the baddest tune in a dance hall is what Shabba Rankin do, you know. I don't really want to call the word, but the love.
That's
you don't
right.
know me at all. I was the first one to Maggie to, you know. When I mean dynamics, I voice it. I say, Shabba, you know, so I don't voice song I can't play for radio. And they come to one of the biggest songs. I don't have anything against that.
Yeah.
But what I want to tell my young artists them is that it's not a bad song enough. You have Echo Wooded, you have Yellow Man,
Exactly.
but a different type of thing to what the youth has said. No,
Serious.
the youth has said they want to cut the girl. No. Well, it's not needed. See, like how you get once you take up the gun, you can say, I love my brother and I see a melody. When you check it out, you can use a good lyrics and a melody. I don't want to kill them because as the Jews say, I want them grow up in and I want them to but my brethren just say a while ago, we need to curb them. For me, look upon the artist like my son and my pitney, you know. And me say, you have some kids, we are getting grandchildren now. Our job to guide them, you know. That not say you take them now hear the badness, but we have to say to them, say, no, that's not right, you know. So it's the same thing with the music. So if we can educate the younger one and tell them, say, you can be like a portrait who just win a Grammy and do some conscious tune. And you can be a Chronics there. It can work, and the message in the music, it matters, it no matter what rhythm, whether it's on dancehall rhythm or any rhythm. For rhythm is the rhythm where you dance with. The melody is what you say. And see, like when you talk about gun, you can talk about love.
Yeah.
Melody, catch you. You can talk about, we talk about sex then. Do it in a way where, you know, say Calypso, when name it's a saltfish, I would know.
Sparrow,
But
Sparrow, yeah.
Sparrow. So, me I look upon it and say, them can still do them thing, but do it, that's my grand pitney and my pitney and yours, we can just in the house and play it and everybody
feel good.
Everybody feel good.
But the powers that be sometimes though give our industry a hard time for what's going on in the society. You think that is fair?
It's not that fair. As my brother just said, I just think we need to guide our music, guide our children, guide the younger artists, make them understand, say you can do good and it work.
And also hold a mirror up to society when it don't work and say, well, we're not giving it to forward, you know, because at the end of the day,
all right,
you know, the people who are presenting it, when they present it because there's a demand for it.
Yes.
So that has to be also taken into consideration.
And you see, the society really, you know, them not to bash them to that.
No.
I'm not going to support them, as I said. It's like, you say artist is something wrong, you have to try to curb him or, you know what I mean, cool him down. Because sometimes it's just what the youth I say is why I'm still around him and you just say again, you go in the dance, especially the woman, and them jump to the wrong thing sometimes like that. And once them a jump, you know.
This is Johnny, trumpeter for the Scatterlights back in the day. Look at me one day and say, boy, music is a funny thing, you know, because sometimes the right is thing wrong, and the wrong is thing right. So funny thing about music. Because you see, it's segue to a thing that I want to talk about now, the business part. Because the business part is real. And if the public is jumping to what you produce, and your bank manager is going to be happy. How do you feel about that, Jail?
Well, I think the thing about it is, if it does well, but if it's something you don't really support, then it's always gonna eke at it in a way. At least for me, sometimes, you know, in a sense that. I mean, granted, you don't want to be producing anything you don't support, first of all.
Right,
you don't want to be in studio with people and it's a song where you don't
It's
like.
not your thing, it's not your
right.
thing.
So, more than likely, you know, I don't think I've gone through a situation like that, thankfully. You know, I just try to work with people that I like, people that I rate, people that have a respect for the music themselves, you know, and if it does well, it does well, and I'm glad it's not something that I feel, you know.
So what seems to be a consensus right across the board, at least with this panel, is that if you don't feel it, you're not producing.
Right.
Yeah,
not your alignment, you know, producing. For example, I mean, not picking on him specifically, I think Xchange is very talented, but I wouldn't produce the records, but it's not my thing, you understand me? There's no doubt in my mind, with the first time I heard him, because I mean I wear other hats as people like someone that plays the music. When I heard him for the first time, I was like, okay, this is definitely something. This is going to be something, right? But could I, you know what I mean? If he was in my camp or I had access to that level, I'd be like, perhaps I would try another direction. But would he be open to it? I don't know. I'm just using him as an example.
I hear
right? But it's kind of hard to tell him at this point. Don't do that when he has had success with
it.
That's the weirdest dynamic.
That's the business part of it. You see? And also, the internet is interesting because it is not as restricted as terrestrial radio.
Yes.
You see? I mean, I know people who were radio jocks on terrestrial radio and they were restricted. And then was going to start a digital radio station and them can say and talk anything.
Yes. But that was the genesis of the pirate radio movement in the UK.
Yes.
Right,
yes. And let's face it, you know, pirate was a whole lot of people.
Can I tell you? That's not a statement.
Yes. Because I mean, you believe it or not, somebody like even Freddie. And Freddie's concept wasn't out there, but pirate radio really helped to get that over. And so, well, ladies and gentlemen, listeners, viewers, we are now at the end of the second segment of Relay. Leg number 3, the producer's leg. Jamaica Reggae Industry Association, Jaria, presents Reggae Open University 2023.
February is Reggae Month. Go catch the rhythm on Reggae Month TV, 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. daily in February. Catch the mega reggae concerts, interesting reggae documentaries and symposia, reggae conversations with pioneers of the music, and lots more. Reggae Month TV all days in February, 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. on PBCJ and the Ministry of Culture social media pages. Get all the details real time on the Reggae Jamaica mobile app and come catch the rhythm this Reggae Month.
Proud of ourselves, Reggae Month TV. Proud of ourselves. Yes. This is Queen Africa. Keep it locked. Reggae Month TV. Load. Yeah.
So take your time. Take your time, take your time, no need to worry. And take it easy, take it easy, take it easy, no need to worry. So no slipping, no sliding, no bumping, no boring, no want to ride into town. Disgrace, just pick yourself from off the ground, yeah. So take your time, take your time, take your time, yeah. No need to worry, no. So take it easy, and take it easy, and take it easy, and take it easy. No need to worry. And for the
Yes, viewers and listeners, welcome to the third segment of Reggae Open University, Jamaica Reggae Industry Association's Reggae Month 2023. You have been watching Jalil doing his tribute to Hopetoun Lewis, one of our pioneers, at the Jaria Honor Awards 2022. Yours truly conducting. We give thanks, and of course you can see our chairman is on drums with the band called Intonation. And that is reggae with strings, something that Jack and myself also do it. Scarfy, I'm going to just detour a little bit. I'm going to tell them about our thing with the strings, man. How we win the contest, man. Tell them about it, Jack.
Oh, man, that was the Red Bull contest was a great moment, man. That's how I say, why reality is reality, and when you come with original acoustic, this is acoustic sound.
You see me?
No, listen. No care going on. Even if you make your computer ready, what's sweeter than when you see a band and back up a artist and let her play? Tell me now.
The organic.
You can't go in.
You know, I was telling Jalil earlier, you know, we were back into the dressing room, that I laugh now when I tell my students that cut and paste really was cut and paste.
Yes.
When the youth say, you mean it? I say, yeah, man, I'm gonna have a razor. You know? Yes. I'm gonna have a razor cutting a tape, you know, and paste it, you know. That's where cut and paste come from. And, you know, to see the look of amusement on them face, because it happens to all of the youths them now. And there was a time when you cut dub plate, and it was a one take. Tell them about that, Jack.
Yeah, man, well, in my time when me have get, especially around at Tubby's then, for I know Tubby's is the man, one of the man who when me start cut dub plate, that's for me one. When you see him put on that dub on the machine, and you see that rhythm I play, and the artist a voice, him can't make a mistake. If he make a mistake,
that's it.
That's it. So, that is all one cut, especially on a dub plate. You cannot go and make a mistake and think it's going to stop. Maybe the mistake you have to do, as a good artist, and if you make a mistake, and just continue. And you know what I mean? Might be like a little record scratch, but it gone.
Improvise.
You cannot stop it. Dub plate for that's how one cut. I know, like some people might think, say, you know, in a recording date, for instance, a man like Extruder one, then Mr. Dad.
Yes.
Who did I start with a 2-track tape?
Yeah.
So, you know, him have one track, which is the rhythm, and the other track is what the artist vice from. I think still, if an artist make a mistake on the one track, he can still stop and start it back. Mm-hmm. But when a dub plate, you can't stop and start it back. Mm-hmm. So that is the difference with a 2-track tape. I can't tell Mr. Dad this was a 2-track man from that till it got to 4-track. Me had their troubles then 2, then 4, then 8, then 16 track, then 24 track from Channel 1 day, 24 track, and it moved to the 8 that now, and Alice is 8 that until it come back down to that machine and CDs, and now it's all what you guys have said TikTok.
Well, let me interject here and tell you. I'm going to tell you a little secret from Third World. We cut a version of Dreamland. Bonneville popularized. And I don't know, I want to tell you, live and direct, that it's about 5 years later, I tell Cat Core that I erased the guitar and the intro. You never know. Go England to do the mixing and accidentally erase the guitar. And then I realized him played 2 times. So the guitar you hearing is the second one. But here, why am I telling the story now? Because we used to do a thing called wild sync. I don't know when I don't know wild sync. Yeah, man. We used to run it to a 2-track.
And then finger punch.
Right? And then when you run the machine, you have to hold the 2-track and wait to the point of the music, you know. And wild sync it. Now today you just use a button.
Yeah.
So the technology is changing. And I must say that this is one aspect of the digital world that I welcome. Editing is now a joy. Because editing was really working them time there. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, I mean, or if you have seen the machines go through the changes, you have some of them, some of your vintage stuff still. I mean, how you look at today's world now that you can just take out your computer?
Well, you know my thing with it. I mean, well, for those who don't know my stance, the principle is still the same. There's a time is diminished and changed. Because even the whole concept of a computer, it's our composition. So if you compose foolishness, and it's going to be foolishness, right? For example, one of the technologies a lot of the producers use nowadays is called splice. I wish I get musicians that have played lines and the lines they can pitch it and add it, but it still has to be played properly.
Yeah.
You understand me? So I mean, you know, I don't. You use Splice?
Barely, but I know of it though.
I've seen it used. I have never used it. But after the rhythms that are nowadays, they get from that account. But still from musicians that have played lines and stuff. So they just compose now and putting stuff together. It might be easier, but it still requires a certain level of musicality and musicianship. So the principles are still the same, no matter the technology. That's where I am with it. All you save is really the time and how much more productive you can be.
True.
But JL, you in your production now, do you mix live playing with your programming?
Yeah, and it's more desirable than ever before because I have a track called Ups and Downs with Hector Roots Lewis. And I have another track with him called King Said, which is like a full live tracked reggae rhythm, you know, classic kind of roots track. And to me, honestly, that kind of feeling, every time I listen to something classic, something that was done in the days that you guys had mentioned with the tracks, like the feeling of it, you know, the simplicity, but also the groove of it is very unmatched. And I've spent a lot of time trying to recreate that digitally. And you can get close, you know, because obviously reggae had this digital age where it was just, you know, the sequencers making the rhythms, but you get close, but you don't get quite there. You feel me? So I love to incorporate musicians in any way possible, even with things that are not your classic reggae, just things to kind of give some natural swing and vibe to some.
You find that where you mix
definitely. Well, all the reggae rhythms that I produced have live elements in there. Right? Even if I compose it, right? Drums, right? Go to a drummer, right? Or you know, the guitars, as you know I'm saying, you might even compose the bass line. I let a live bass bassist play it over. So yeah, definitely.
Just like me, I make one of my first computer rhythm. I'm one of the men who away from Blood Fire Pass who come with Blood Fire Pass, every pass get flat. So the same musician them make lazy bad rhythm for me. You know what I rhythm there? The computer. Really. But as I'm saying, I still use live. If you hear the rhythm guitar, Lassell, Beckford, chick-a-ding,
yeah, man.
So even if I personally make a computer rhythm, I have to try to get a Dwight Picnic.
Yes.
You know, you don't even know, so maybe I make one of the LP with your brethren, Bonnie Ruggs.
Yes.
His first solo album.
Yes.
And one of you computer rhythm there, but everyone they might have in a cat core play the guitar. But I have to have live instruments and my computer rhythm to make it have that feels.
Yeah, man.
You know, so you know, I never, and I remember, you know, me saying, you know, although Slentin come and lick with my little lazy body, and me always post for jamming and say, jam it, remember, you know, lazy body come before you.
But I'm going to make a little correction though, Jack, that might surprise you.
Yeah.
That was not actually Ruggs' first solo album, you know. It was Ruggs' first solo. Listen to that little technicality. Yeah. It was Ruggs' first solo album as Bonnie Ruggs.
As Bonnie Ruggs?
Because he had made a solo album before with Lee Perry. But him call himself Bonnie Scott.
Well, listen, you live, you learn. Yeah, and I would never know about Bonnie Scott. I talk about the first solo album with Bonnie Ruggs. Well, anyway, oh my God, it's a great soul.
Great album.
You know, man, and we just love him.
Absolutely.
Oh man, I just love that version. I just love that.
Not to detour from the theme of the program, but I just have to mention that.
Yes, sorry about that.
For the list. No, you have a sorry, man. It's educate also. And so for the viewers, Bonnie Ruggs was actually the lead singer for Third World from 1976 until he passed away, unfortunately, from cancer. And Barry G once gave him an award saying he thinks he's the greatest singer he has ever heard. And I would support that.
I would support that.
The man was an extended baritone.
Oh man.
Serious thing. However, people, now the business part again. Views, likes.
That's great, that.
Tell me about it, Jay.
Great, that. Why?
New metrics, I guess, you know, and it's interesting because the internet almost can feel like it's not real, you know, the interaction. and the numbers. I mean, and to an extent, in this current world, a part of it could be not real when you talk about bots and that kind of thing. But honestly, it's the way that we interface with our fans and the people, you know. I do think what reigns above all is the face-to-face interaction, the performances, the tours, the shows. But I think like even COVID really showed us that digital interaction, the likes, the followers, all those metrics that at one point people were kind of bashing. People really needed that for some sort of validation. You want to know your stuff is doing well. And if you have 10,000 followers and you post something and you don't even get 50 likes, yeah, it must mean something not working out, you know, even though these aren't people that you are seeing as 50 people. You're just seeing the number 50 or the notification. But in just like how you go out in the street or you go to a party and you play something and then you don't get the whole party moving to it, at the end of the day, you can actually live see that interaction and move it and persuade them to get to where you want them to get to, versus online where it's just there's no faces, there's not that interaction, you know, so it's different.
All right, well, here's what I'm going to do, because I want to touch back on this topic.
Yeah.
But we're coming now to the end of the third segment. So I'm going to take the wrap now for Jaria's Reggae Open University, Reggae Month 2023, the third leg, the producer's leg. You are watching us live right here.
It's a musical journey with Freddie McGregor.
Big ship sailing on the ocean.
Bring him on now one more time. Make we hear the massive again. Bring him.
A big ship sailing on the ocean.
Freddie McGregor is a singer from Clarendon who at 7 years old wrote a song called Roll Dumpling Roll, which took me to Kingston, to Coxon Studio 13 Brentford Road, popularly known as Studio One. And it began from there and hasn't stopped since 1963.
So many people wanna see me stop loving you.
Oh well.
Watch this Reggae Month special this Sunday, February 19 at 8 p.m. on PBCJ.
Yes, you have been watching the Jaria Honor Awards 2022, and that was Nix doing a tribute to JC Lodge, Telephone Love. The Jaria Honor Awards is an honor awards where we feature persons who have made significant contributions in the industry. And we do have popular categories, but most of the categories are voted for by a panel because we try to let people know who have been those significant bass players and producers and engineers and guitarists, and many of whom have gone before. Because one of the work that Jaria does is to entertain you and let you know what has happened as we move forward. But right now, you're watching Reggae Open University 2023, and we are in the final leg of the final segment of the third leg of the relay, the producer's leg. I want to revisit the topic about bots and likes and subscriptions and these things that happen in the new form of the business. YouTube, TikTok, Spotify, Bandcamp, you name it. Arif, I've heard that as you yourself said sometime, it can be a two-edged sword because it can be a genuine metrics or it can be not genuine metrics. Elaborate for me.
Well, I mean, the whole thing with people purchasing views and, likes, it's a double-edged sword. It's not a black and white topic because you have to look at it also like promotion. So back in the days of CDs, you had you had Billboard charts. You used to have something they call 100,000 shipped, which never meant it sold. That's what they carried to the actual
store.
The store, right? What went back, you wouldn't see. Same kind of principle. You understand me? Because the thing with the market nowadays is it's a time-based market. You can get some instant gratification, but you have to really give it some time. So you have a 2-3 month window to see if something's going to take root or not. Right? Some people try to juke them stats, hoping to garner interest, but you can usually tell after 3 to 4 months if there's any interest or not. So, I mean, it's there, it's defective, depends.
So if it looked like I had 500,000, right? But it's some things I bought or got the bots to set up.
Right. So in 5 months you still have 500,000. Then what does that tell you?
Not going for me.
There you go.
I hear you. Jail, for the viewers that don't know what the bots are, explain the whole business of the bots.
All right, so basically it's inflated views. It's views that don't correlate with an actual corresponding audience that's behind their computers watching or behind their phones. So as Arif says, it can be used as some sort of promotion. So people see you with the 1 million views, in the first few days and just like, wow, this is doing well.
Right.
Then they go to it, and more than likely the song is good enough to be able to carry its own for a little. But that's a trend I've been seeing pretty frequently recently when it comes to dancehall songs, where like they get to a mill real quick, and I'm just like, that's great, honestly. I mean, if that's organic, then that's perfect. But at the same time, I can get where new artists would want to bypass the go out in the streets and promote and do all these things to get organic views, bypass that, to just get that first boost of impression,
Okay. But you definitely like that, Just I noticed with you, you like the organic thing, you like that.
Yeah, I mean...
It also boosts, it also, the boot, it's not really 100% fair to say it's not. Because it's not a human view, it's still a view. Because if the computer is playing it, somebody sets up a network of computers that will play something repeatedly. It's not a human view, and it's still monetized. So you still get money back from it, right? You still get paid from it. So if you invest into yourself, some of that money is going to come back to you regardless, right? It's not a situation where it's a complete waste. But in the current culture where people the consumer wants to know, okay, this is what is happening, this is what is trending, I want to be a part of that. You want to be in the conversation, so what are you going to do? You're going to walk around singly and hand every single song to everything. That's not the market nowadays, that's not where we are. So
different kind of thing going on now.
Yeah.
Jack, how is your internet thing going?
Well, my internet thing at this moment is as I said, it's quite a while I don't produce, and I've introduced this young man, sign him up. And I look upon it and say, yeah, one of the ways I think for earn from him, yes, but I like to get the views, but I think promoting him to make the world knows him, that they can book him. I think that's where the money at now is from the artist going to perform, and as long as him can please the audience and grab the audience, just like what Bridget said, you want to see 50 people for you and they might enjoy themselves. And that 50 people lead to 50,000 then. Because them will tell one, oh, this guy is great, and people will come out. I think that's where I see where the money at now. I mean, yes, the views can give you some little extra, but I don't see it as a big, investment now where we can earn from as a producer.
Yeah.
The actual thing now is an artist, if him really make the public love him.
It's really just a promotional tool.
The older music, from Mentor to what I call international reggae, or even old school dancehall, How does it influence your production now as a younger producer? You listen to it, does it influence you?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I grew up on that and I still reference it to this day.
Still reference it?
Yeah, because I think back then there was a lot less distractions when it comes to making music. You know, people had a more pure mindset, a more purist mindset when it came to laying things down, in the sense that you do gather interests and inspirations from other music, but then, you know, you really take your time to perfect that soul and put yourself into it, as opposed to nowadays where it's easily, as Arif mentioned, there's splice where you can grab a loop, you can grab a drum loop from someone, or you can grab this, you can grab that, and just throw it in and put together a song, you know, in a couple of minutes, you know. So it's just like referencing the days and the times when, you know, people just put their full heart into everything that they did, you know, and there wasn't really much of the idea of super stardom, fame, international, worldwide. It was just love for the music. So it was like, it's hard to really hear that authenticity as often as it was being produced constantly back in the day.
The reason I ask you the question is because if you listen to rhythm and blues, before Jamaica got independence, I talk about some fat domino oldies, right? You listen to rhythm and blues now. It is still called rhythm and blues, but there have been significant changes.
Yeah.
Are we changing reggae and dancehall too much? You know, Mr. Trap and all kind of things happening. I'm not critical of it, but I'm wondering, production-wise, is it the new thing? Is it that we are moving in another Jamaican direction? Or is it that we have sold out? Jack, how you feel?
It's a younger generation now, and as I said, in the mere days when we grew up, I mean, our parents never like, it's a reggae then.
You're right.
That's right. Let's keep forgetting.
Yeah, so we have to look on the nowadays youth, they know, I make them think. And that's all I can say as a producer. I always have to say to the younger one, then, please, do no things, but keep it positive and we can dance and enjoy it in a manner where our kids can enjoy it and we can play it, make our children and grandchildren hear. It's only what my problem is just the lyrics, but the trap and you know, I don't have a thing, I'm not going to go against them in a bad. If I remember we had them, me and you grow, and our parents, they just like the fat domino and the same. You know, and then why you know Bob Marley, you know why you know Rastaman music. So, you know what I mean? Now, me and you know, we want to hear the Bob, we want to hear the one, but everybody want to hear Cartel and Mavana and the younger generation. So, I can't take it away from them.
Arif, you were instrumental in especially Cartel's earlier career, and your name's still good, right? There has been a lot of criticism about content with him, right? Looking at what's happening today now, I mean, is Cartel still relevant?
I mean, definitely the generation that is here now, you know, you could say him birthed a lot of that, you know what I'm saying to you? But the truth of the matter is, though, to his credit, right? Because if you look at the parties that carry retro, there seems to be a need from a particular generation. Jamaican culture, the overall culture is kind of weird. We have a thing where we run serious joke, right? But we also get to the point where people tend to feel like that's all we are about, the tough nature. And a lot of people who don't grow in that tough nature want to experience it. Like going to the zoo, being close to the thing there, so but you know, you're not in there with the lion. So you get a chance to fraternize with the violence without being a part of it. And the music does offer that to some degree to some people. Problem is that a lot of those artists have a lot of positive material that gets overlooked. That was impactful, that gets overlooked because people tend to want to hold on to Top Shot and No Miss, or you know, a lot of those things as opposed to the songs that they created in that era that were also as impactful. So that gets lost as the time goes by. But I mean, they have a whole cadre of songs that are, you know, are positive. Not making an excuse because again, art is subjective. So they created art that was for some people and art that was for other people and it came from their heart. But people tend to hold on to as time goes by the more negative aspects, and that gets developed.
Jacob, we're down to the wrap, right? And I just want to talk about the production future.
Right.
10 seconds each. Unfortunately, that's all we have. Future of the production.
As I said, we just want one positiveness in the music, it will live for the next. It's like the Bible. Good music live like the Bible, you know.
Yep.
And we just want the youth them to know. Just think about going to the studio and do good music for our people.
Yeah, I would say collaboration, innovation, and respect for what came before.
Change is inevitable. Only music alone shall live. Music is fine. It's going to grow, evolve, and change. And what's going to stay is going to stay. What's going to go is going to go.
Viewers, this has been the third leg of the relay, the producer's leg. You have heard from Jack Scorpio, JL, Arif Cooper, and yours truly. Jamaica Reggae Industry Association, Jaria, presents Reggae Month, one more year in 2023, and as you can see from the producers, it's positive enough. It'll go forward.